So, Mark, did you see that hack for making sure that annoying smoker next to you isn't blowing smoke on you? Just use one of the USB ports on the slot machine, plug in a fan, and blow away.
You love talking about blowing things, I swear.
It's a fan. It blows. What do you want from me? It's blowing smoke.
I will say I don't even really notice smoke in Vegas anymore. It doesn't seem that bad. I mean, the air quality, the systems they have in place are so much better than they used to be. But I'm sure people would love for them to have like the little smoking rooms and stuff like they do in the casinos around here. But I don't know. It never really bothered me too much.
It is much better than it used to be. I think this could be a fun little hack to mess with the gambler next to you. You know, somebody is bothering you. They're too close. They're doing stuff. Just blow them.
What would you do at stage door? Bring in like those industrial fans for like drying out things?
So imagine you're like a loyal gambler for decades and, you know, you go to these local properties, get to know the managers. I mean, John Mahaffey is a content creator. He doesn't want to be called an influencer, but he's heavily influencing, especially in gambling and the odds and staying up on Vegas. We talk about him a lot here. But Plaza, we also talked about how they just redid the felt on many of their tables, and he's been a loyal customer of them for a long time. So they gave him the felt from the old tables, as he calls it, one of the coolest comps he's ever gotten. Yeah, it's neat. I mean, I don't know what I would do with something. I guess maybe frame it and put it on the wall, or I don't know.
Make a couch out of it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure like whatever his favorite game is, I'm sure he'll buy a table and put it on there. I would think if he has a game room or something like that, it'd be really cool. But if not, yeah, I don't know what you would do with it. I mean, they look beautiful. It's such a cool, unique gift, and if anybody's going to appreciate it, it's going to be John. So that's awesome to see. But yeah, you could frame it or come up with something unique to do with it. I'm sure there's genius people out there that are good at decorating and everything that can come up with something really cool beyond either of our abilities. And it just shows like independently run, owned companies do things differently. And this is a different, thought process and something unique that, yeah, they could have given him like $200 or $300 and free play, but this means a whole lot more. And it didn't really cost them anything because they're probably going to throw them away anyway. So it saved them money and gave value to one of their better customers.
Yeah, I love that he viewed it as a comp. That was sort of an interesting way to look at it. And I don't know that I'd ever seen felt off of a table, just picture of felt like that from a casino. So maybe you haven't either. And enjoy those pictures, and congratulations to John. So I talked about it on the last show that I was staying at Wynn. So I did one night in downtown, and I talked all about staying at Fremont and the El Cortez expansion on the last show. So you guys can go check that out. But the next night I stayed at Wynn, and specifically I did it with the Wynn Slots app, and I've been testing it to see, is this a value worth pursuing for you guys? And I'm still sort of mixed on it, but I ended up having to spend $200 in the Wynn Slot app to be able to get to a level where I could book a room and have enough gems. And I did that. So this room was $219 if I booked it the cheapest way possible. And I spent $200 in coins to get the free night, but I should also be able to get another free night next quarter. So we'll talk more about that in a future show. But the Wynn rooms, I'm really liking them. This is my third stay, I think, in a renovated Wynn room. So third time staying since they renovated the rooms, and it's Wynn, right? It's holding up great service. Everybody smiles and says hello as you go. In the casino, they have the floor people. I mean, it is the best place in town.
Yeah, and we should specify, I know you talked about on the after show last week, the Wynn diamonds or gems that you earn. Basically, it's not like a set, this many gems for a room, regardless of the price. It's based on like the gems are worth this much towards a hotel price. So the cheaper the hotel, the fewer gems you need to use. So that's kind of cool too. So you should have enough for like another cheap room. Or if it would have been an expensive night, you could have booked it all for one room and spent, the $400 or $500 worth of gems on that. So I think if you can play with those and you can do the game and it makes sense, I think if you are flexible, you'll get like half off a room, would you say?
Yeah, I think that's my goal. So in order to book a room, you need to be at their tier 3, and basically spending $100 gets you halfway there, and then another 100 gets you there. I think it'd be impossible to play without spending the money to get to those tiers. Certainly you'd have to spend an insane amount of time. I don't even know how you would accomplish that. And then at tier 3, you can book one night per cycle. And then there's higher tiers too. So you could spend up to go even higher than that and have more options. But that's where I'm at. And so this cycle, January through March, I'm able to do it. And then I still have my status for next cycle where I could do it again. And then I would have to spend more money to be able to keep it. And I don't know. So I should be able to get 2 nights. And we already know that the cash rate of the one night I had was more than I spent. So yeah, overall pretty good. Enjoyed it.
So what would you say? Like, how long did you play a lot, or did Jasmine have to play a lot on this to earn the gems, or was it mostly a portion of buying it and then you quickly get through and you earned all the gems you needed from that?
I earned it pretty quickly. I would just set it. So I think you can set it up to 250 spins automatically. So I was just letting it run in the background. I did notice just on how quickly my coins diminished that after I spent this money, my odds of winning, like just hitting bonuses or different things, were less. Like it was taking the coins back quicker. So this is not gambling, and so they can do whatever the heck they want. I mean, as far as the wins that you get and stuff, so keep that in mind. But it wasn't a difficult to earn the gems I needed given the coins I had bought, because you get hundreds of millions of coins for the price that you're paying. So yeah, I mean, it's worth doing. I know this was a much better value years ago, but I think there might still be some value for people, especially like me who will enjoy a one night stay. I'm local. I can pick the cheaper nights and kind of work around that. And it is my favorite hotel in town, so I will always looking for a reason to stay there. So I was in the casino. I wanted to do this test because we talk a lot about tips and what you should tip, and specifically with cocktails in casinos. And I wanted to pick Wynn because it is a good casino with good cocktail servers and good service. And then what would you need to tip to get the cocktail server to bring you a second round immediately and then to come back? And not just come back like 45 minutes from now, but come right back, bring you your second round of drinks, and then to continue to check up on you. And so I theorized that $10 would be the lowest you could do for this. And so we ordered 2 drinks. My wife ordered a martini and I ordered a Diet Coke. She came back, gave her $10, asked for 2 more, and then also asked for 2 Pellegrinos. She came back within 2 minutes with that second set of drinks, tipped her $5, and then kept that going, and she kept checking on us. So there you go. At Wynn, that will do that for you. It's not that much money compared to buying drinks. Sure, if you want to give them $1 or 2, maybe you're going to get 1 drink and then they might not come back for a while. I don't know. I think that for me wasn't so much where I felt like it was a big deal. I like that good service. I like having something to drink when I want to drink it instead of being like, where the heck is the cocktail server?
I mean, a martini is going to cost you what, 12, 15 bucks at the bar. So $5 alone is a good investment on all the ones after the first round. And then you're still getting, the Pellegrinos and other stuff. So I think it makes sense. And it's good for the waitress or wait. I've never seen a cocktail waiter. So have you? Is there? Yeah, there.
Rio,
has, right?
Rio used to always have cocktails, male cocktail servers, and I don't know if they're there anymore. I don't think I've seen them recently. But that's the only. I wonder. And people can go in the comments. Let us know if you've seen male cocktail servers elsewhere. But Rio used to have quite a few of them.
They're making money. They're going to come back and do the service. And I think even if you did like the $10 initially and then did like $3 for 2 drinks after that, probably would be enough. I think the $10 is the key there starting, or you could start a little bit higher and go lower. But I think that's the best way to do it. That's what I usually do at the table. If I'm sitting there, I'll give them like two red chips, and then they just keep coming around fairly quickly, and just say, hey, when you're coming around, bring another beer or whatever it be, and go from there. But yeah, that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, learn to play the cocktail server game, because that can make a huge difference in your experience and save you a ton of money too. And yeah, when they like you, when a cocktail server likes you, that makes all the difference in the world. Even in nice casinos like Wynn, they may, like I said, they may ignore you, they may not, but when they like you, yeah, it's good.
So don't be a jerk.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. A lot of fun, Mark cracking jokes all about Shawn all of the time. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. Thanks to everybody who supports us over there. We love doing that show. So you found this video, I think it was shared by DraftKings online, but it was this crazy hand where somebody split 10s 4 times, or they ended up with 4 sets of hands, then aces were split next to them. And then you know what's going to happen when you see all of that. And it's a video on the internet, you know what's going to happen.
I mean, you know what's going to happen even if you're sitting there. I swear, anytime there's more than just like one split, like if I've ever had to split, like 3 times, let's say, or even like 2 times, like if I got 7s and I split those and then I got another 7, I split it again, almost always going to lose all of them. I think maybe like 1 out of 15 times do I win. So as soon as you saw this, you knew it. Serious players will say splitting 10s when the count's high is good. But for most people, not a good move. And of course, everybody's going to say, well, if he wouldn't have split and the aces just split, they would have won. And then other people are going to say, well, it doesn't matter in the long term. It doesn't. Long term, whatever. It's fine. But if you're just sitting there for that one hand, it matters.
Yeah, and then of course, 21 for the dealer. At least the guy who split the aces got one tie. He pushed on one of the hands. Okay. So there's the big win.
Silver lining.
So I mentioned Rio and their male cocktail servers. I'm really interested if they still have them. But Vital Vegas shared something this week where he showed up for a free gift and they weren't staffed properly and just huge lines everywhere. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about Rio lately online, and it's very clear that they walk in there and they spend a few minutes there and then they leave and they see what's new and that's pretty and they don't spend any time there. But I've stayed there quite a few times over the last year. I've had a lot of interactions with employees, and I was kind of happy to see Vital Vegas being honest about this and calling this out, because the culture has not changed at that hotel. And I've alluded to it a little bit here. I've tried to give them a lot of the benefits of the doubt. I still think for the price on many nights and what you're getting a good product for what you're paying for and all of that. I just wish the staff was nicer. I just wish they knew how to do customer service. I just wish they cared a little bit more about the customer. And I've had enough of these not terrible experiences, not anything where I'm going to rail against them or come on here, just experiences that leave you a little bit off. Like when they overcharged my room and then I had to go through this whole spectacle to get it taken off when it wasn't my fault, it was their fault, stuff like that. And yeah, so I just was nice. It was nice to see. I've just been a little frustrated watching people say, oh, the Rio is spectacular. And then it's just clear they're not engaging in any way with that property to see that, it's not quite there yet.
Or were they paid? And it is frustrating when you see stuff like that. And I mean, this is a lot of Vegas, though. It feels like it's just the customer service isn't there and it's not a priority anymore, except for, and that's why I think when you go to the Wynn, you notice it so much because it is so much different. And it's sad to see because this is an independently owned property now. They have their own thing. They have all the tools they need to change the culture there and to make it a priority. And this could be the number one mid-tier to budget tier property if they had really great service. Everything else, the rooms are newer and they're updating the casino. But if you had that service aspect, people would go to your location, which isn't great off the strip, but they would go out of their way for it because you're going to get a friendly person and you're going to get taken care of. So I think that it should be a priority. And this is coming from the top down. We see MGM and stuff wanting to cut valets and check-in desks and all these things. So they're ruining the experience. That's your chance to step in and be like, you know what? We're going to give you a great experience at a valuable price. And they're just missing the mark there. Hopefully they get there. I don't know. We'll have to see. New management has come in certain aspects in certain areas. So hopefully they change the culture of things. But yeah, it's tough to see. And it's annoying when something isn't great and people are saying it's great and then you wonder why. But hey, they did leave you that nice note after, you almost got all your stuff robbed.
Well, that's the point. I want to actually talk about the note because this shows you why they don't understand what's going on. Do they not understand that me walking into my room after talking about this, they never reached out to me to talk to me about this. They never told me anything. This is when the door locks were broken in the rooms. And the next day I go in there and there's just a handwritten note on my bed because they had seen it on social media, but never actually talked to me about it. This is how the Rio is, right? There's no real care about the customer on a deep level. A place like the Wynn would have been, or any place that has good customer service would have made sure they talked to me about it. Said, I'm sorry that happened. But they went in this creepy way. Their social media team put a note on my bed to being like, we see what you're saying. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't being sensational. The lock didn't work. And yeah, and then the front desk staff and a lot of run-ins. And I will stand by the fact that I love everything that they've done with the renovations there. Obviously, it's weird how the Masquerade Village still isn't done, and it seems like it's just been stalled out for months now. We don't really know. But what they did was great. Now let's get some staff to actually provide good customer service. I've just had enough indifferent experiences there now and watching this. And then that rewards club, can you please put a line outside of that? Every time I walk by there, there's like a dozen people just scattered about because there's no like set line on how to stand outside of there. Oh. All they need to do is put up those little turnstile things. This has been over a year. It's just, oh my God. Still wishing them the best.
Rest in peace, right. Rio. You're done. Shawn just murdered you.
I don't know. So let's move from that to the Caesar Sportsbook, the urinals in the bathrooms. This was sent from Johnny Vegas, and he says that Caesar's is they're ruining. I don't know which. I'm assuming Caesar's Palace Sportsbook. He didn't say, but yeah, there you go. That looked like Tropicana on its last day when they had all the urinals were falling off the walls and covered up and everything else. But I imagine it's probably just the normal plumbing issue. Hard to blame them for that.
Yeah, and hopefully, the next bathroom's not too far. At least it's not like an Air India flight where all the bathrooms don't work. So, you got other options, but it would be annoying if you're watching a game and it's a quick commercial break. You're just running there to go pee real quick. And you're like, oh, what the heck is this?
Yeah. How many drunk people at Sportsbook would just like pee on top of the cover or something?
Oh, lots.
Welcome to
There's
Vegas.
drains on the floor for a reason, man.
So this next thing I came across, and I just thought it was very, it made me nostalgic. This was a video somebody posted of the first game of the Golden Knights in 2017. And I've been noticing this a lot lately, how like video from that era, just the way the cell phone video looked, it looks vintage to us, like from our eyes today. And I'm sure video we take today will look vintage down the line, but this just looked vintage. And I was thinking like that was only 8 years ago or less than 8 years ago. Which is kind of crazy.
It feels like it wasn't even like, it doesn't feel like it should be 8 years ago. I don't feel like they've been around that long. It feels more like 4 years, maybe 5 years. So that's kind of crazy. But how many cities really get to experience like their very first homegrown, born in Vegas, born in your city, sporting event, sports team? Never thought Vegas would ever have sports at a professional level. I know Aces were there before, but they came from somewhere else. So this was like, we built this, and it's such a cool experience. You'll never see it again. It's so rare in most places. Like Oklahoma City had it a couple decades ago. Like it just doesn't happen that often.
So let's look at what could have been. A couple shows ago, we talked about the guy. We called him a grifter. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but he had all these different stadium projects around Las Vegas, including one on the old Wet and Wild site where he was partnering with James Packer, the Australian casino billionaire guy. And I got an email from Paul Steelman of Steelman Partners, who happened to work on that project. And he says that the version for the Wet and Wild site was actually going to be a hotel casino over 1,800 feet tall in its original version, and then scaled down. But he sent us the concept art of this thing. So you are looking at the Wet and Wild site, currently LVXP All Net Arena before that, right next to Sahara, with this giant tower. Interesting architect. I mean, oh my God, I wanted this to get, I've never seen this before. Thank you, Paul, for sending this. I had never seen this rendering. I had seen other renderings of what was proposed for that piece of land, but yeah, really cool stuff.
I mean, it definitely would be something that stands out in Vegas, unique design, nothing else like it. It kind of looks more like it would be in Asia, like a Tokyo or something. Just think like, and back then there was nothing else really in that area next to Sahara. It'd just be kind of like, oh wow, where'd this thing come from?
Yeah, notice how it towers over the Fontainebleau structure in this rendering, which is very tall. Yeah, it's a thing that never happened. You're right. It looked more like a skyscraper than it did a hotel tower. And you do get those in other cities where they have hotels within these office buildings and skyscrapers, and everything here looks like a hotel. Everything tall here, you're just like, oh, that's a hotel. But that's what could have been. There's so much. Maybe we'll cover. Thanks to Paul for sending that over. But let's close with this. Another new strip casino, a project we haven't talked about in a long time, or even ever since they bought this parking lot. The three affiliated tribes, the Mandan, the Hidatsa, and Irikara. And if I mispronounce that, I am sorry. But they own these casinos. They bought that land right next to where the old Trop site is. So the new A's Stadium, where the October 1st thing happened. So it was owned by MGM. And they said at one point they were going to build a parking lot. Well, that's eventually evolved into a $2 billion thing, which we don't know the plans for yet, but they have filed with the county. So we will be getting some drawings and renderings probably in the next month or so. But they want to build a $2 billion project, which will include some sort of a sports arena. So they actually kind of hinted that the Golden Knights might be, well, the controversy here was they hinted that the Golden Knights might be interested in moving or dealing with them. And of course, the Golden Knights said no, and they're not going to move from T-Mobile. I don't know what's going on with that, but it does look like that's another. We have so many proposed projects now for Las Vegas. We really should just do a whole video. There are probably a dozen just on the strip from proposals, but yeah, here's another one.
What would be the purpose of moving? Like T-Mobile's brand new. It's not like it's 60 years old and they've been asking for updates or something. Like that would just be wild and it doesn't make any sense. Now, is this just the parking lot area, or is it does it go into the next area that has those two tall stack things that have just been sitting there for forever for no reason?
I don't believe it goes into that land, but they did pick up some other adjacent land, so they've kind of expanded their holdings with some little plots around there. And some of the roads around there are getting wide.
Just knock those things down. What are they there for? What's the point?
They were there because they started to build a Ferris wheel and then they went out of business.
What is with Vegas and the city and allowing one vacant land to sit there forever? And two, when you build a part of a structure and then you run, like, why aren't you making them either finish it or knock it down? Like whoever owns it, it should be an eyesore. You should be fined. Every year it should get more and more and more to the point that they're paying like astronomically high numbers for not knocking down those two stupid things. It just drives me nuts. But I don't know why they ever wanted to make it a parking lot. That's kind of wild, but it would be nice to redevelop this because of what happened there and just kind of move past that a bit. As well as it's such valuable land. It's, right on the strip. And now when the stadium gets built, it's even worth more. I don't know. Maybe they're sitting on it, waiting for the stadium to get built, and then they'll flip it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that this is a great location for, this is actually, I believe, the location of the Montecito Hotel in the later seasons of Las Vegas, when it had the monorail and all those fake CG sort of graphics there. I believe it was right on this land. Those roads are going to get widened. There's going to be what are the chances here, Mark? Let's put this on the record. Better chance of this getting built or Bally's?
But I think something will get built. It just won't be by Bally's. So if you're saying hotel on that site, I would say the A's site, but it just won't be Bally's.
Yeah. So, a lot up in the air. Just off the top of my head, we have Sky Rights at the Fashion Show Mall. There's a proposed thing. Then you have Casino Royale, Tillman Fertitta's project. I think there are quite a few. So we'll maybe have to compile those. Yeah. Dream, which somebody said there was some dirt moving around there. I haven't heard of construction restarting. So maybe there was just a little thing, but yeah, maybe we'll have to compile everything together to remind everybody that this is reminding me a lot of 2007, 2008. We had a gazillion projects, especially back then it was a lot of condo towers and stuff, but that were, never built. And it seems like we're kind of in a similar thing because I don't think a lot of these things are going to get built anytime soon.
Yeah, let's get back to the best era, 2010, 11. Cheap Vegas.
So let us know what you guys think in the comments about that big giant tower. Would you have loved to see that get built on the Wet and Wild site? By the way, Steelman Partners, they're the ones doing this new casino for the affiliated tribes, designing that for them all over the place. That company really has just really the DNA of Las Vegas architecture. So cool to see that. But let us know what you guys think about that. Wynn, the tipping cocktail servers, what is your strategy to get the optimal service in a casino? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody.